Hello, dear students. This is Dr. Ala Hussein Al-Hams. Welcome to our second session of Introduction to Linguistics. We have mentioned before that linguistics is the scientific study of language and its structure. We have also mentioned some key branches or the key branches of linguistics, including phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. And today we will be dealing more particularly with phonetics. So, phonetics and speech sound production. Now, we'll be asking the following question. What is phonetics? Phonetics is, of course, the branch of linguistics that studies the physical sounds of a human speech. It focuses on how speech sounds are produced, transmitted, and perceived. Phonetics can be divided into three main areas. The first area is what we call articulatory phonetics. It examines how speech sounds are produced by the movement of the articulators, meaning lips, tongue, vocal cords, etc., within the vocal tract, of course. The second term is acoustic phonetics. It studies the physical properties of speech sounds as sound waves, such as their frequency, amplitude, and duration. The third one is auditory phonetics. It explores how speech sounds are perceived by the ear and processed by the brain. Now, what is a human sound? A human sound refers to any audible vibration or noise produced by the human body. This can include a wide range of sounds, from speech to non-speech noises. These sounds are created by various mechanisms within the body, often involving airflow, vibration, and resonance. Now we'll be moving to types of a human sound. What are the types of human sounds? First, we have speech sounds. It is produced by the coordinated action of the lungs, vocal cords, and articulators. Examples: vowels, consonants, syllables, and words. The second type is non-speech vocal sounds. They mean sounds using the voice but not structured as language. For example, laughing, crying, shouting, humming, or groaning. The third type of human sound is the non-vocal sounds. Non-vocal sounds are produced by other parts of the body or actions that don't involve the vocal cords. Examples: whistling, airflow manipulation, snapping fingers, clapping hands, and so on and so forth. The fourth type of human sound is what we call the mechanical sounds. Sounds arising from bodily functions, not directly related to communication. For example, heartbeats, stomach growls, joint cracks, and breathing noises. Now, organs of speech. Organs of speech refer to the anatomical structures involved in the production of speech sounds. These structures work together to manipulate airflow from the lungs to create distinct sounds used in spoken language. Classification of speech organs. Speech organs are typically divided into three systems based on their functions. The first type, or the first classification of speech organs, we have respiratory system. It provides the airflow and energy for speech. We have the phonatory system. It produces sound through local cord vibration. And we also have articulatory system. shapes the sound into distinct speech sounds. Let's look at the respiratory system. The respiratory system provides the necessary airflow and pressure for speech. It divides into lungs, which supplies the airstream for speech production. Here, air is pushed out and occasionally pulled in for speech, exhaling and inhaling. Example, a strong exhalation produces sounds like p or t. The diaphragm, which means a large muscle under the lungs that controls breathing by pushing air out or drawing it in. For example, diaphragm's control allows singers to sustain long notes. We have the trachea, the windpipe that channels airflow from the lungs to the larynx. Example, without an open trachea, no airflow can reach the vocal cords. Now let's look at the phonatory system. The phonatory system generates the basic sound source for speech. It divides into larynx, i.e. the voice box. It contains the vocal cords, which vibrate to produce voiced sounds or remain open for voiceless sounds. The vocal cords, these thin, flexible tissues that can be adjusted to create different pitches, volumes, and qualities of sound. For example, the voiced sound z, vocal cords vibrate here, z. The voiceless sound s, vocal cords do not vibrate. We have the glottis, the space between the vocal cords, which can open and close. We call it glottis. For example, the glottal stop as in the middle of o is produced by briefly closing the glottis. We have the articulatory system. The articulatory system modifies the basic sound into specific sound speech sounds. A. Oral cavity, B. Nasal cavity, and C. The pharynx. The oral cavity, which means the mouth basically. The oral cavity is divided into the following. We have the lips, used to control airflow and create bilabial sounds like p, b, and m, or labiodental sounds like th and v. Example, p in pat is made by closing the lips and releasing them. Second, we have the teeth work with the tongue and lips to produce sounds like th as in think and th as in this. Example, f in fine uses the lower lip against the upper teeth. We have the alveolar ridge, the bony ridge behind the upper teeth where the tongue contacts to produce alveolar sounds like t, d, s, and l. Example, t in top involves the tongue touching in the alveolar ridge. Fourth, we have the hard palate, the hard roof of the mouth used for palatal sounds like sh, j, and y. Example, y in yes is formed near the hard palate. Soft soft palate, i.e. the velum, the soft movable part behind the hard palate, it controls airflow between the oral and nasal cavities. Velar sounds like k, k, and ing are produced with the tongue contacting the velum. Example, k in cat involves the back of the tongue touching the velum. The tongue, the most versatile organ of speech, it moves to different parts of the mouth to produce a wide variety of sounds. Parts of the tongue, we have the tip of the tongue, used for alveolar sounds like t and s. We have the blade, the area just behind the tip, used for post-alveolar sounds. Front raised towards the hard palate for sounds like y. Back or the dorsum raised toward the velum for velar sounds, like we've mentioned earlier, like the k and g. We have also the root, helps in shaping vowel sounds and glottal sounds in some languages. So, example, s in sit uses the tongue tip near the alveolar ridge. Seventh, we have uvula. What is the uvula? It is the small, fleshy extension at the back of the soft palate. Uvular sounds, common in some languages, such as the French r in rouge. Example, the uvula works with the velum to close the nasal passage during oral sounds. Now let's look at the nasal cavity. Nasal cavity allows airflow for nasal sounds, including m, n, and ing when the velum is lowered. Example, m in man requires air to flow through the nose. We also have the pharynx. Pharynx, a passageway behind the oral and nasal cavities that helps amplify sound. Example, vowel quality is influenced by the shape and size of the pharynx. Let's look at speech sound production. Speech sound production refers to the process of creating sounds for spoken communication. It involves the coordinated use of various anatomical structures known collectively as the speech apparatus. This process can be divided into three main stages: respiration, or what we call the power source; phonation, or the sound source; articulation, sound shaping. The first stage is the respiration, or the power source. Role here is to provide the air needed for speech. The process: air is expelled from the lungs during exhalation and flows through the vocal tract. Key structures: lungs generate the airflow. Diaphragm controls the flow of air by expanding and contracting the thoracic cavity. Now let's look at phonation, or the sound source. It converts airflow into sound. The process: as air passes through the vocal cords located in the larynx, they vibrate, producing a sound. The pitch and intensity of the sound depend on the tension and vibration of the vocal cords. Key structures here: we have the larynx, or the voice box, which houses the vocal cords. We have the vocal cords, they vibrate to produce voiced sounds, example, vowels and voiced consonants. The third stage is the articulation stage or the sound shaping. It shapes the sound into distinct speech sounds. The process here, the sound produced in the larynx is modified by the movement and positioning of articulators. Key structures here, we have the tongue, which is crucial for shaping many speech sounds. We have the lips from bilabial sounds, example the p and the b. The teeth help produce dental sounds, for example the th and the. Palate, or both hard and soft, it affects sounds like k and g. Nasal cavity used for nasal sounds, for example m and n. Here we come to the end of this lesson. Thank you very much for your attention. Of course, a document attached with the main resources will be attached to the main site of the university. Thank you very much.